All right, I'm so excited to this is n8n masterclass where ideally I'll be taking you from beginning at n8n to an AI agent builder or even to someone looking to use AI agents into their personal life or even the work. I was about to say grab some kind of like pen and paper, but since you are here, I would say grab some kind of like AI note taker. And yes, we are good to go. Well, this is the masterclass. So we are going to be starting with the very bottom, the core fundamentals of the AI agents, what is an ATAM, and then we'll get it way up, right? So first of all, we need to understand what is an ATAM. Since you are here, since you are looking for AI agents and the symbolic automations, you might have heard the term low-code, no-code automation tools. Well, this is exactly what you're listening. N8n is the low-code and no-code automation tool. It basically allows you to build tools, softwares, startups even with as workflows, right? So this is for you if you have the understanding about the code or if you haven't, right? Because it's just reducing the way and barrier entry. You don't need to have a lot of degrees, you don't need to have the PhD into n8n, either AI. You are good to go if you haven't got the experience with the coding, or if you have got, this is good for you. But if you haven't, this is just drag and drop for you. You do exactly what a coder can. So there's a very barrier entry of you getting into a systems. Right now, it allows you to build tools and workflows. Now, what does that mean? How does it work? What it can do for a business? Let me talk about that. It increased the efficiency. Well, obviously, when you are having a human doing all the tasks for you, it's going to increase the cost, increase basically the things for you where you will have less sustainability and just things going, right? There's no efficiency because human have desires, human have basically their own ways, right? But when you train a system like an attend agent and just implement that on your customer service and just implement that on your lead scraping or whatever that is, right? It's just going to do the repetitive task. So you not need to do that on a daily basis, right? The second thing, it's just going to reduce the time and the cost and the energy, right? These are the three things which I think is the core fundamental for the every business owner. And if you can just go to the business owner and just say like, I can reduce the time for you, I can increase the efficiency, reduce the cost, they're going to pay you as much as they can, because this is the way and this is how you can basically increase the business, sustain the business, scale the business, right? It allows you to more focus on the sustainability, scalability, and adoption, right? So once your basic day-to-day tasks are being done by the AI agents, now you have the thing out of the box just to basically you can now think how I can scale my business to the next level, how I can multiply it by like 10%, 20%, whatever that is, right? But if you are just engaged with your internal task, this is hard for you. I'm telling you, right? Now it increase Now it improved data handling. Well, if you just give it data to the human, they have multiple emotions, they have multiple moods. Sometimes they are feeling low, sometimes they are feeling high, right? So it's not about basically the human, but it's about it handle your data in a right way. What that means is it have a brain itself. It can take a right decision, right? For example, you call it when you get the email, then you respond it, right? This is it having a small brain itself, that when this action is being performed, then I need to react on that action in this way, right? And now you can connect it with one tool to the another one to the another one and just make a chain of it, right? We'll be discussing more exciting thing later down the line, maybe on the next slide, so stay tuned. Now it enhanced the customer experience. Now, this is the quick story. When AI come in, that the large language models like ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, these all pop up. I was just thinking, when the chatbots are going to come on in the market in the usual way that it is at the moment in the market at the moment. So what is it gonna do? It's gonna decrease the customer because AI is responding them and they know AI is responding them right away, right? But now it's AI is just getting more humanized and everybody's understanding this is the future. So people are, instead of just getting it on the back way, they are improving it, right? They are more appreciating it. So this is really what I'm seeing in the market nowadays, and this is going to be the future look like. So this is exactly what I'm talking about in the enhanced customer experience. Maybe there are multiple features when you're basically scheduling their sales calls, onboarding them, and sending them the emails, sending them maybe cold emails, maybe the data they asked for, whatever that is. Now AI can understand what they're asking and give them the right data in the way you want it to be, right? Not just the way ChatGPT operates, but the way you trained and you want it to be responding. Now, while creating this slide, I was just having a lot of thoughts in my mind that why shouldn't you? But let's talk about the core fundamentals of why exactly should learn an n8n. Because I believe when you're learning something, you should have the exact idea of what I can do, what I can't do, and why I'm learning what I'm learning, if that makes sense, right? So I have just minimized a lot of my points and just getting to three ways, right? We have talked in the last slide, but I want to talk tell this on a little bit more. It is empowering non-developers with AI automations. Now it's very simple. If you have got the experience in the coding or you haven't got, now this is just removed, I believe, that boundary, right? And it's just more of like giving you the opportunity to basically work on it, right? Because now it's just drag and drop. You don't need to have a lot of experience. You just need to understand this is how it works. This is how you can connect one thing to another via APIs. And you don't need to have basically the experience with Laravel, the experience with PHP or whatever that is, right? As a coding language I'm talking about. The second way we have got, and this is so insane. The second thing I'm talking about, this is just so insane, and this is one of the things I love why I use an n8n, right? It has 300 plus. Imagine 300 plus built-in integrations. Now what does that mean? Might every tool I use on daily basis, I use Google Sheets a lot while writing. I love that. So this is just giving me the opportunity to basically integrate one thing with the another, right? Let's say I'm writing, and at the same time while I'm writing, I want my team to review that as well. I want my brother to review that as well. Now, instead of me just manually copy pasting that stuff or sending him the link, I can just make a basic automation where I'm just writing something on my Google Docs, and it's just sharing that information with my brother at the same time. I don't need to copy paste. I don't need to share him manually or share him the link on his email. I just need to know what I'm trying to do, and I can do that very straight away, right? There are 300% integration just like that. Like you can just imagine how many tools you use, and even if this isn't available, you can just get them via API, and you can use that. Very simple. There is all the Google apps you see. There's Microsoft apps. Maybe you want to integrate with basically Gmail, Outlook. It's all out there. Slack basically is there is basically all the things you might use on a daily basis. There is it, right? And it just opened a door for you for the infinite possibilities. I see people are building million and billion dollar startups with at a time. This is crazy. This hasn't ever done before by anyone, right? Now this is the era of basically AI. People are building a lot of the startups with AI, a lot of softwares, a lot of agencies, and it's genuinely simple. You just need to have a clear understanding of what you are struggling with, and just connect one tool to the another, and just basically make it easy for yourself. And if this is really worth using, you can pitch it to the other people as well, right? You can help others. And in exchange, you can maybe take their time, you can maybe take their attention, maybe you can take their money, whatever that is. And that is called the business. That is the fundamental. And you can make a whole business with an attempt. This is very simple. Well, this is the masterclass that I'm so excited. And this is the way I love to share my energy with you all of you guys, right? And the third point we have got here is a little bit similar with the second one, which is to connect to almost any tool you can imagine, right? On a daily basis. Or if there isn't possible, I told you, you can integrate that with APIs. You can integrate that with customer custom code, which is and here is how you need to have a little bit experience with coding. But what I'm telling you, trust me, you don't need to have all the experience. I don't have that, right? So I hope so far it's making sense, and we will go from there, of course. Well, yes, now we have discussed what is n8n, why should you use it, what are the best features, and the core fundamentals. Now, let's go into a little bit of like actionable steps, which is to setting up your n8n account, right? So first thing I would love to talk about here is there are obviously when you go about this, you'll have two options, which is one is the self-hosting and the second is cloud hosting, right? And you need to decide what should you go with. By the end of this, you'll have the clear understanding of what is easier for you and what you decide to go with, right? So I have got a couple points for each of this. We'll go after this. So first thing we have got in self-hosted is the fully controlled and flexibility over data. You can basically integrate that with your internal system and your external system, basically outsource anything. So you'll have more flexibility than the cloud hosting. Then the second point we have got here is data ownership. Now this is very important when you're working with a very big company or something like Apple or Google, they have basically the security policies, they have multiple things. So they more require doing like self-hosted or on the different one basically, because when you're using cloud, the third party will be involved into a distance and they will have the exactly access to your data. So you'll not have the fully ownership on your data, right, on your server. Then it could be more effective in the long run while you are using that, because there isn't basically initially there isn't any subscription model involved in self-hosted as that is involved with the cloud hosting, right? So, but and the fourth part we have got here is customization. You'll have basically you can customize it the way you want. You can basically, as we discussed, you'll have full control and the flexibility, right? And the last thing, the point we have got here is installing and maintenance. This might be you'll have external teams maybe to manage that if you haven't got the basic knowledge about tech or coding or whatever, right? So this is about like if you're doing as a company or something, you can go with self-hosting. But if you're a single guy trying to do something on your own or trying to make your basic agents, this is up to you. But I would more recommend you to going for the cloud one, because self-hosted is less basically cost effective, but it has more features, right? And now let's talk about what we have got in the cloud hosting. It is easy to use basically. So if with the basically self-hosted, you'll have to know about a little bit of like tech things to set that up for your account. Then you'll have the availability and reliability. When it's set up by the third party, you'll have reliability and you have more features, you have more ease, and it's more like user friendly, right? So you'll have the security thing. The security thing is like for the self-hosted, you have the full ownership. Now there's a third party involved and it has your data, right, of your server. So, and then it is like cost. About the cost, there is a subscription model, and with the cloud hosting, you need to pay them on a monthly basis. That isn't so much, or if you're using that so much, you might be making so much money or you might be reducing so much money. So both way you are making money, right? So and it's about like data handling. So I hope that makes sense and you have the now clear understanding about what should you be doing if you are the one who is just trying to get into the game and understand, and the one working as a company and putting your server over here, your maybe sensitive data that you don't want to share with any LM or any third party material, right? Okay, so before we hop in with the end interface, understand the interface and get ourselves familiarized with that, that's I think it's very important to understand these three things: workflows, nodes, and executions, to get a more idea of what we're talking about, to not be immediately confused about the things in place. So I'll just make it real quick, and then we'll go on the interface, of course, right? So first thing first, there's workflows. Workflow is the structure, right? So it's the core fundamental of, you can call it logic, you can call it the main recipe of the building block, right? And then we come on the nodes. Nodes is the each step of the building block. If there is a whole building, for example, the nodes are the flats over there, right? So, and in this, and then you can call it, and it is like one tool to the another tool, right? The chain of tools which you mentioned earlier in this video, it's called nodes in n8n, right? And executions. It is very simple. When you call it to be performed, it perform at that point. For example, as we mentioned, that when I said when you receive an email, respond to that email. This is a very simple example that when you basically want to execute it as by the name, so it could be scheduled, it could be when you just apply it manually. So it's up to you. We'll be going to be seeing all the features on the interface. So I'm really genuinely excited to hop on the interface, understand things over there. All right, so we are in I-10 into the interface. Look, when I saw it the first time, I was just thinking like, well, I'm not a tech guy and I shouldn't be doing that. But when I saw the trends we have been seeing for the next couple of years and the use cases I can provide to the businesses, or I can help businesses grow with that, or I can help my business grow at the site, and I can even start my a lot of the companies out there, right? And this is the core fundamental to connecting one thing to the another one. Even if I don't know coding, I can do this, right? So this might be sounding a bit of like boring thing, but I remember the quote of like basically the boring things make you the real money, right? That quote is basically one of my main motivation, my inspiration for basically working and also like helping others using an account, right? So we have got a little bit of like all the things here. There are like the workflows I have been working on. This isn't my personal one, so I haven't been like so active on here making and trying different things, but these are like a couple things I have been trying, and my stuff isn't so organized over here, and it doesn't need to be because I have got just a couple of workflows over here in this account. So now you can see templates. We'll be going into that a little bit in detail right at the moment. Then we have got variables, we have got help, and we have got the documentation. I would suggest you, if you haven't got like, if you are struggling with something very specific which I'm not able to cover, or you haven't seen that on like any other thing, I would recommend you to just go onto the n8n, see what you are struggling with, search over here, and you can pretty much see everything over here, and like connecting with one tool to another, what are logics and everything, right? So I will not be going a lot deeper into this at the moment, but I want you to go if you basically are finding an issue or something with an intent and learning something very specific, right? And coming back, we have also got the whole documentation course that we just talked about. Then we have a quick starter. This is a quick video, not a quick one, basically on the YouTube, where it is from the n8n explaining everything in detail and how we can like start with the very first workflow. There is a whole course documentation which isn't quick, but if you want to go very detailed into every step, I would love you to look over that and understand a little bit of like what is that basically. There's also video calls they have code on the YouTube. That's the whole playlist. You can give it a look if you want, or if you're struggling with like something very specific that isn't in the documentation. Usually they have covered all the things in the documentation, right? So let me just click here, create workflow, and yes, this is what I'm talking. This is what I was talking about. This is the node, right? And you can connect this with one and another. And this is the interface which I was talking about, which is like very user friendly, right? It might sounding to something really new. With this is really new, right? But does not mean you just need to leave that. We are going to be starting with very beginning, so don't worry about that. Here you can just change the name, just give a name to a workflow. I can call it YouTube video. And if you are working with a lot of the projects, you can just basically just add a tag that this, let's say this is a tutorial. I can just add that this is the YouTube tutorial. If you're working with the multiple clients, you can just add that, and it will be easy for you to just find the workflow you have been working on lately, right? Then here we have got the templates, all the stuff that we have just talked about. So first thing is always trigger. You need to add trigger basically to get your workflow going. So let me click this, and here are multiple triggers. We have got options over here, which is about like basically trigger manually. What that means is you need to click the button right here to basically get the workflow working, right? That I was talking about just in the last slide as well. This is trigger manually. You can on like you can schedule it, or like you can schedule it like many people want to just upload their YouTube video at the right time where their audience are active, any documentation, or you can just like your manager, you need to send something to your manager at that same time. You might will be in the event or whatever. You can just add that. This is just cool examples. You can just use that in your day-to-day task, right? So this is on schedule. You can schedule it on like submission whenever someone fill out a form on maybe your website, maybe on your sales funnel, marketing funnel, wherever on your ad. Wherever that is, whenever they fill out, these actions need to be performed. Maybe you can send them the email about your VSL, your video, whatever that is, right? I have got a little bit of experience in sales and the marketing and the writing, so I always give the real-time examples about that. So apology if you not get the whole point with that, right? You can chat. There is like on chat message. That is more of like basically the chatbots. The way we create chatbots, and you just need to give the knowledge space, and it will be responding accordingly, right? You can give it like when called by and the workflow, like when this task happen, then it gives the instruction to the end task to do its stuff, right? So I hope all of this is making sense. Any event, whatever the event happen, in the last workflow, it dictates the basically trigger to the next workflow, right? And then if there's anything specific, you can just go on other ways and figure it out from there. But usually these are the things we need to use in our day-to-day tasks, or making the even a bigger workflows basically to get done. Okay, so let us make a little bit of like data stuff. So we see how does it work and how does it operate, right? So we have got our basically trigger over here. We can just try anything. And what is a really good thing about n8n, we can try each step from the beginning, right? So we don't need to over stress. Then we are on the last step. We can try every step, every input, output at the one go, right? And individually also. So we see it's working because it has nothing to do really. We haven't give it really good data. Like we do not do that. So you can just add the another node by clicking plus button over here or this button, right? So if there is, let's say Gmail, let's say Gmail. So there are multiple basically triggers over here. The one basically reacts when they got a message called like email basically. When they got an email, the one when delete an email, when reply to that email, send an email. So whatever you are using, you can just try that out. Let's say if I am adding like send an email, it will just give me the infrastructure of that, right? So I can just basically add who to send to, and I can just give it like basically the email address, maybe a sheet where I can give it the data on, and here I can write to like from my email basically, where and here I can basically just make it a big larger. Look at this, right? So I can also do it in like JSON folder, HTML folder if you have got the idea about the coding. If you haven't, you can just write it in the normal format, it will just do that. Here we have got these options, text or HTML. And then we have other operations that is really nothing to do with that at the moment. So we can just remove it because it is showing us this error because we haven't actually used it. We haven't given the data to be used, right? So it cannot really work, of course, right? So let's try something out. Let's say you can try the triggers over here, but let's just I'm looking for a dummy data. So data transition, let's say edit fields, and then let's add a field called name, and the name is Huzaifa, right? So we can simply test it out over here. And look, it's working. And the other good thing I really like about an n8n is it have the proper structure of the input, processing, and the output. That's what we learn in the schools, by the way, right? So here we can just add like input. What like if you have uploaded a sheet over here, whatever it is it in the sheet, the emails, the prompt, or whatever that is, it can the prompt is that all would be here. The input would be here, right? This is the code system that is operating on that input, processing, and here we have the output. There's a field called name, and then I have got my name over here. I hope it's just getting you idea of how does it work, how does it operate really. Okay, so let's go back to the canvas, and you just need to make sure your nodes are connected with one and another, right? Because let's imagine you have done all of that stuff that you try to do, you had a logic of doing, but you did not connect the first node to the other one, your system isn't going to work anyways, right? So let's say I have just removed that and I just get this node here and here, right? If you try it, this is successful because it has nothing to do, but individually on the other way, individually it's successful because I haven't give it the data, right? But when I connect this, give it a data, it is not gonna work anyways, right? So you can connect this simply by this line and it will get connected, right? You can just say your line is here and here. You might see like multiple atoms. So you can like basically make a whole system. The scripting, you might see the scripting all the system. These all are step by step. First, this operation will happen, then this. So this is how basically it works. And this is the core way it operates. I would still not be going into a lot deeper in advanced ways into like making whole workflows. We'll be doing that in the next couple of videos down the line. But I would say the purpose of this video is to just give it a better understanding of what is n8n, why should you use it, how can you reduce time, increase the efficiency, and this is basically the interface look like. Okay, cool. So, as the purpose of this masterclass, I gave you the basic understanding of what is n8n, why should you be using it, what are the basic core fundamentals, and the benefits, all of that good stuff. And here we have the interface, like basically interface in front of you to get the basic understanding from. This is just drag and drop. There is nothing like you need to have a degree about. So, and the great thing I just want to touch base upon is templates. It's super amazing because when I'm just getting started, this was really hard for me to basically understand what to actually build, right? Because this is something new to me. I don't know what to connect with the other things. So I give it a look, and whatever I had in my mind and whatever the industry I was in, maybe in sales, maybe in marketing, maybe in SEO, whatever that is, you can just search it out over here. If that is lead scraping, you can just search it out simply, and you will have the basic to advanced, basically tools and the agents built over here, right? And it's free for you. You can just try it out yourself and you can understand from their acknowledgement that what is the first step they took, what tool did they connect with one another. So as you can see here, there are all the tools, right? They connected Google Sheet, Trigger, all of this stuff to make this data work. And these all are good examples of what you're trying to build, right? These all are basics. The next step, I would love you to just open your basically add an account, start experimenting because the the main thing is you don't learn from watching the videos. You actually learn from seeing and doing all the experiments yourself. You learn from the failures, you learn from basically doing again and again and again in a better way, right? So that's just for this video. I would love you to I would love you to invite you to connect with me on Facebook. Basically hit the subscribe button if you like the video, and also like button because it helps me making more videos like this on a consistent basis, as well as the algorithm to get this video in your feed. So I'll see you in the next one, where we'll be creating more interesting and basic to advanced chatbots and basically all of these automations. So I'll see you in the next one.